In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our very major, historic Category 4 Hurricane Burl. We have never, ever seen a Category 4 like this one this early in the season. The end of June into the beginning of July is completely unheard of. And as I've been saying for weeks, conditions and now even results are a lot more like August timeframe. I would say mid-August is kind of what you would expect to see these types of conditions as far as water temperatures, major systems, and multiple threats of tropical activity, just completely unlike this time of year. And it's a true testament to the hyperactive season that we are under. I've been calling for that for months now, and many other forecasters have as well. One of the worst, if not the worst, hurricane seasons of all time. And with all of that being said, this even exceeds my expectations for really what you would expect to see, even with the conditions that we've had. So this is just completely mind-blowing even to me. We're looking at the satellite imagery of this complete monster hurricane out there. We see it as a very well-structured buzzsaw look there that you can clearly see, which is an indicator of a very strong system. Also, these very dark blacks in here and grays and whites, that's going to be your extremely tall clouds nearby that eye wall. Very intense system, clear defined eye. Did struggle along the southern islands where they unfortunately got a direct hit from this monster. In the Eastern Caribbean. It's now over open water, and we're going to have to see what it does moving forward. It is moving in a northwesterly direction. I have a lot of evidence in this video to show you guys that there is a decent chance that the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf Coast of the United States, needs to be on high alert for a potential impact from this, especially Texas and Louisiana, but we even have some model guidance showing possibilities along the Mississippi, Alabama, and even Florida coast. We're going to be showing that throughout this video today. Let's dive into the 2-day graphical tropical weather outlook, because Burl is not all that is going on out there, believe it or not. We will really focus in on the spaghetti model guidance, the intensity guidance, even some outlooks here from the National Hurricane Center and the Climate Prediction Center we're going to show you later on. But we do see that Burl is right there over the eastern and southern Caribbean. I'd say the southeastern Caribbean is a good way to put it. We do see that Tropical Storm Chris, as I predicted in our last video, did develop. Now it's over Mexico as a post-tropical cyclone. So we all have our C name, so 3 named storms by the time we're entering into July. Again, just completely unheard of stuff here. We do have another main development region, which is the area between Africa and the Caribbean there. So this area in our main development region, which again usually doesn't turn on until early to mid August. So we've been seeing this thing shoot out systems here throughout the month of June and now July, which is just really not typical at all. We do see a 20% chance of development from this one system here over the next 2 days. You can see there's plenty of instability along that entire area. Wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see some tropical invests coming off of Africa there into our main development region, as if we're in mid-season form here in the tropical Atlantic. Over the 7-day outlook, though, we do see that this one does have a 50% chance of development. This is down from our 70% that we saw the other day, though, so it is decreasing in odds as of now. 50-50 shot, though, a flip of a coin is not very good when we're talking about a major tropical cyclone that would potentially be hitting some of the Eastern Caribbean that just got hit by a Category 4 hurricane. They definitely don't need another system. So I don't like our odds here. 50-50 odds is not good when we're talking about something that impactful, unfortunately. Now, as we take a look here at the cone forecast for Hurricane Burl, we see that this one is currently at 150 miles per hour winds. Definitely a very major hurricane, well above the threshold of 110 miles per hour. It has been for quite a while now, too. We see that it is kind of breaking away from these Eastern Caribbean islands, but there is a decent shot that it'll be very close to Jamaica and a slim chance that it could even hit Jamaica directly. So Jamaica is our next area that we're watching. Along the Haiti and Dominican southern coast, though, we do have tropical storm watches up because we could see some tropical storm force winds and some rainfall heading into those areas, maybe even some minor storm surge from that. I think that they're a little far for that, though. We do see that the cone forecast currently shows a Yucatan Peninsula impact before breaking back into the southern Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to be arguing that there is a better chance that we see this trend northward than anything over the next few days. We've seen some model guidance suggest that this could even go through this kind of sweet spot between the Yucatan Peninsula and eastern or western Cuba, better yet, over open water. That would be the absolute worst case scenario at this point. Now, it's important to note that we do expect this one to stay a major hurricane through 8 p.m. tomorrow on Tuesday before becoming a hurricane, so back down to just a normal hurricane, which is category 2 or below, by 8 a.m. on Wednesday is the current National Hurricane Center forecast. It stays a hurricane all the way until that Yucatan Peninsula impact before becoming a tropical storm Saturday morning over the southern Gulf of Mexico. A little bit far out there, don't really know what the future holds there. That's where we have the most uncertainty there, kind of in that polka dot area. Let's go ahead and take a look at our model guidance that I've been talking about and teasing you guys with here throughout this video thus far. We do see that there is a clear consensus here over the next 48 to 72 hours. There is one outlier here that takes us straight through Haiti, Cuba, Bahamas, and wants to go up the East Coast. That is one that we're going to take with a serious grain of salt because that is the only model out of very many that is showing that. And I think that I know that this model, typically shows something weird like this. There's always one on here. It might be that one every time that just wants to kind of take the storm way different than what everybody else is showing. So that is likely what's happening there. Now, the real complications comes here because we see that the National Hurricane Center's cone takes it more south like this. So we see something like this as the cone. But we do see that as of recent model runs, we have started to get some of these very far north models. We have, let's see, 1, 2, I'm going to count this blue one, 3, 4, 5 currently that are taking it much further north, and we get a northern curvature, and we have the rest of the models basically not showing that. They take it straight to the Yucatan Peninsula and then straight into either very far northern Mexico or very far southern Texas. As of now, the most likely impact area would be somewhere in here, very far northern Mexico, very far southern Texas. Again, but we are seeing these models suggest maybe northern coast of Texas, Louisiana coast, Mississippi, Alabama, maybe even Florida Panhandle there being shown on these models. And this one would have a trajectory somewhat like these as well. So if these continue to trend in, which northern trends are nothing new. We've talked about this over the years, both with snowstorms, hurricanes, any sort of storm really. These models tend to show things too far south and then bring it northward over the course of multiple model runs, which really just throws a wrench in a lot of forecasts and makes things very difficult. We're going to be watching very, very closely for this. There seems to be two very large major groups of models, and that's going to be these northern curve models, which would be the most impactful potential for the Gulf Coast of the United States here. The second major group is going to be this kind of flat line model group that either takes it towards the Mexico coast here or the coast of Texas. Obviously, if they move through here, we could expect this storm to kind of continue to intensify. It'll weaken a little bit as it gets near Jamaica, near Cuba, near Mexico, but we could see some rapid redevelopment in here if we were to see this worst case scenario track through the sweet spot, as we mentioned. And I want to show you guys the intensity guidance real quickly because, unfortunately, we do see a couple of these models show this little dip in intensity here, bringing us back down to category 3, but we go right back up into category 4 and even 5 on a couple of these before making impact somewhere as a category 5 hurricane. Take that with a grain of salt. That is the worst case scenario at this point. We do see a few models also taking us to category 3, but really just flatlining with that until impact. And then we see quite a bit of these models showing us going down to about category 1. And then the majority here actually have us kind of dropping off rather quickly back down to tropical storm status. As you can see, with the arrows in mind, basically anything is possible is our current thinking here from the model standpoint. And unfortunately, that means that you guys are going to have to really just stay tuned with us because there's a lot more updates on the way. I think that we're going to get a lot more agreement here over time, and definitely it's something that I'm looking forward to presenting to you guys. With all that being said, we do see that the risk of heavy precipitation from the Climate Prediction Center is already starting to eyeball areas along the Texas coast. But not only that, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, as we anticipate potential tropical activity in these areas between July 9th and July 11th from that Burl system that could be barreling towards these areas. We're gonna have to watch that very closely over the coming days. And obviously, this means that the Climate Prediction Center, at least, thinks this is definitely a possibility. These more Gulf Coast impact areas, something to keep an eye on, something we're certainly going to be watching here over the coming days as we track this major Hurricane Burl with you guys. Anyway, be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.